Peace. So we're here with the mighty Rakhem Seku from Juju Mama Progressive Love. How are you, brother?
Peace and blessings, Victor. Thanks for having me on, brother.
No worries, brother. I'm really inspired by your work. You've mentored me for a few years through your books and through other groups, the Peaceful Warrior group. So I'm just really proud and honored to have you here. So I just want to jump right in, brother. Tell us about Juju Mama Progressive Love. What is the model?
Well, Juju Mama is a company we started about 10 years ago, my wife and I. And it's basically a company for empowerment. And what makes the difference with Juju Mama is we utilize metaphysical principles. So it ties in with a very ancient science, ancient Kemetic, ancient African, ancient Chinese, ancient Indian, Dravidian type sciences for empowerment. And it helps people manifest what they're looking for in relationships and, for their life in general, like finances, career, etc. So we really help people tap into, a higher part of themselves to feel empowered that they can make changes. And that's what the company's really about. It's really about empowerment and, giving people the keys to making changes in their life.
Brilliant, brilliant. You're doing phenomenal work, changing lives across North America, actually internationally. So there's a few very specific products and services that y'all have been providing the community for many years, and one of them is called Gender Harmonics. We'll get to that in a second, but I really want to know about the choice paradigm. Can you break down the choice paradigm for me a little bit, brother?
Yeah, choice paradigm, it's actually related to gender harmonics. So the choice paradigm talks about the essence of the feminine and of the masculine and how it relates to how we actually get into relationships and why. So, for example, one of the things we say within Juju Mama Progressive Love is that women actually choose men. Now, any man that's been around and knows the game, understands that that's absolutely true. Now, a lot of men don't really understand that or are not willing to admit it, but women choose men, right? So the question is, if a woman chooses a man, why does she choose that particular man? What's the reason? And the choice paradigm breaks down that whole process because we have 4 different primary reasons a woman would choose a man. And if a man understands why he was chosen, if a woman understands why she is choosing a particular man, then it helps empower those individuals in the relationship. So what happens today is, men go around, they think they're choosing, and they choose to be with a woman, but she hasn't chosen him in the way that he would like her to. And what happens is because he's not aware of that, the relationship breaks down, over time. His ego gets hurt. He tries to make it something that it's not, or she tries to make it something that it's not. It doesn't work. But when you understand the choice paradigm and understand why you all are actually together, and you just leverage that as the basis and foundation of the relationship, then it all works out. So we have concepts like womb choice, we have concepts like support choice, crown choice, and manifestation choice. Those are the basic choices in that woman would choose a man.
Brilliant. So in terms of those breakdowns, manifestation choice, I'm assuming, is related to money and resources, if he's a good provider. I'm assuming that a womb choice is if he is deadly in the bedroom bully, or he's very physically attractive, I'm assuming. And in terms of crown choice, I'm assuming it's if a brother has the ability to articulate himself, study information, and really inspire the system mentally. Which one did I miss, brother?
No, that's it. And then the last one, support choice. Support choice is when women pick men who are very solid in terms of their consistency. They show up for them. They take care of them and, whatever they have going on. So the support choices are more like the husband type. The manifestation choice, it's partly about resources, but really what it's about is it's the gift of gab. That's the basics and foundation of manifestation. The brothers who know how to talk and really know how to, sell and kind of create goodwill and harbor resources. These are the brothers who tend to be manifestation choices because they know how to get money. They know what to say. The reason why they have money, the reason why the women are attracted to them and their finances is because they know what to say, when to say it, right? So, you can be a manifestation choice and not have hardly any money to your name. And a lot of MCs don't have it because they know they can get it anytime. Then they can wake up that morning, and by 10 a.m. they've got a couple stacks in the bank because they know where to go, what to say, etc. So that's an MC. He has those skills. And women are into that. Like, women are into a man who knows what to say to get them wet, who knows what to say to, you know, get her where she's got to go in the world. Like, women are really into that kind of brother. Womb choice, you had that right. That's like, you know, that raw masculine energy. When a woman feels that, when she smells it, when she senses it, you know, she just gets wet. She's down to do whatever to get with this brother. You see what I'm saying? And that's a real thing, because women need that energy. They need to unlock that femininity, man. You know, to unlock that deep orgasm. And the womb choice brothers are the ones who have the ability to do that. And it's nothing to do really, you know, any man can be a womb choice, you know, to a particular woman. It just depends. Mm-hmm. So it's not, you know, a definitive set of characteristics. Like, it's not about muscles, or it's not about, you know, being a certain height. It's really about just a certain swagger that you tend to display that happens to be just super attractive to this particular woman who chooses you. And then the crown choice, crown choice men are men who just have deep understanding, you know. So one thing that gets women wet is when a man understands who she is, understands her life, understands how she can grow spiritually, understands how she can get in touch with the deepest aspects of herself, right? And so when a man's very knowledgeable, you know, that also gets women wet, you know what I'm saying? Because they have a desire to be in touch with the divine, to be in touch with their spiritual selves, to grow spiritually, to be better from a character, personality, you know, and spiritual perspective. And then you have the last one, which is support choice. Again, like I was saying, those are brothers who they have a sincere interest in being with the woman that chooses them. And, you know, they're very much looking out for her. They're very much present with her. And, you know, that consistency, that man showing up on a regular basis is just something that she really appreciates.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant, brother. So from one author to another, I'm completely impressed with the remarkable work that you did on Tame Your Woman. For anyone that hasn't got that book, I suggest they get it. And this whole series is interviewing authors. In Tame Your Woman, you had a quote, and you spoke to the way men engage with their wives, engage with women in general, is sometimes the equivalent of hooking up a nuclear power plant to a toaster oven. And you're basically trying to make reference to the power of the feminine principle in women. Could you expand on that a little, brother? Because I thought it was so profound.
Yeah, when you study, you know, ancient culture, Kemetic culture, metaphysics, you understand that there's two concepts when we talk about duality. And one is the masculine, one's the feminine. We know that males tend to be in the masculine. We know females tend to be in the feminine. What is the masculine? The masculine represents what? Wisdom, knowledge, understanding. That's the masculine's role in the universe, right? What does the feminine represent? The feminine represents power. So what a lot of men don't understand is that, yes, you have understanding. You know what I'm saying? You have these things that you want to achieve, that you want to accomplish. You have these plans, but you're not going to be able to move them at all without the feminine principle. It's like the whole reproduction piece, right? You know, men create life. We're responsible for generating life. That's what the semen is all about. That's what sperm is all about, right? You know, the sperm is a living, breathing, you know, information-rich, conscious entity. That's what it is, right? It carries, you know, the codes of the entire universe within it, right? But what? But the man can't do anything with his own sperm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need energy, you need power, you need, you know, a life force behind it, and that's what the female represents, the feminine. So when I talk about the nuclear power plant in the book, Tame Your Woman, what I'm saying is that women represent that, you know, infinite source of power, right? But the problem is that most men don't understand that. So they have women in masculine roles, or they're not acknowledging that power, and they end up only tapping into a very minute piece of that, right? Now, what happens? They tap into that power on a minute level, but the power's still there. So what ends up happening is that power ends up wreaking havoc on the relationship and on him and on the family and on the community. And that's what we have right now in many households, many families and relationships is a woman's power is not being used. It's not being tapped appropriately. And she ends up wreaking havoc on the family. How does that look? It looks like there's no money coming into the house. Or it looks like, there's disease and sickness in the house, or the children aren't getting what they need. Or it looks like, the neighborhood is falling down around you and things like that. That's what happens when a woman's power goes unchecked. So that's the reference I was making in the book. I want brothers to understand, what the feminine represents, which is power.
That's beautiful, brother. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. My next question is, I've been doing my studies for a while now in terms of this thing we call Tantra. I mean, you coming up here, Tantra in Toronto. I'm so excited. Saturday, March 26th.
Yeah, it's going to be powerful.
But with that being said, in my studies, I studied Sunyata Saraswati's information, Master Yao, Brother Kayir, Elder Nityama. And you have the ability to translate some powerful information similar to my older brothers. But I really want you to give some understanding of Tantra, because a lot of people believe that Tantra is solely about sex and don't understand the higher principles of it. So if you can just give us some information that will really create some clarity around the principles and precepts of Tantra.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the most important thing you got to understand is that, all of these systems, Tantra, yoga, these metaphysical systems, Tai Chi, meditation, ritual. You have to understand these are all part of one system. If you read the story of Oser in the Kemetic literature, then you'll understand why Tantra sits alone as a separate system in the world. Why Tai Chi is a separate system, why yoga is a separate system, right? Because the creators of these systems, and one of the people on the planet who mastered these systems are no longer here. And what happened is that, the people who are left, which is us, only really have the ability to, harness certain amounts of that original information, okay? So that's step number one. If you look at Tantra as a singular, solo practice, then you don't understand what Tantra is, okay? So step number two, the primary thing that Tantra is for is to help you tap into your power as a human being, right? How do we tap into our power as humans? We tap into it by growing spiritually. How do we grow spiritually? By challenging our conditioned behavior patterns, by challenging our reptile brain, our mammalian brain, to fall in line with the higher brain centers of the cerebral cortex, okay? So if you look at the Kemetic people, for example, they had a series of protocols and practices and teachings that help people get out of their animal spirit, to help them get out of jealousy and uncontrolled anger and fighting and not being able to tame their own habits, things of that nature, okay? So, when you look at Tantra, Tantra is a system within a larger system that helps us do what? It helps us tame and control and master the most powerful expression of energy within us, which is our sexual and creative energy, right? So if I can apply a system to sex, where, for example, Victor, you as a man go into sex and you're thinking with your cerebral cortex and your third eye, it allows you to harness the bull. It allows you to harness the dragon and have control of and manipulate the most powerful energy within you. That's what Tantra is. Tantra is the practice of helping you master, manipulate, and control your sexual energy so that it can be used to do what you want it to do and not run amok in your life. And again, that's a piece of a larger spiritual discipline. Because if you're not studying You know, like Victor, you're familiar with the progressive love tenets.
Yes,
If you're not studying metaphysics and these non-universal laws and how they interact with us, if you're not understanding astrology and stuff like that, then you're not going to have a proper context for how to use Tantra. I was watching a video last night of Master Sunyata Saraswati. He's one of the few people on the planet, all right, rest his soul, who I consider to be a Tantra master.
Yeah.
But one of the things he was saying, and this is what Osho said as well before he died, is, you know, you have to have that consciousness piece.
Yeah.
You have to have the spiritual practice, Tantra by itself, Tai Chi by itself. You know, all these disciplines by themselves, they're not going to do you any good. You know?
Yeah, no, I was going to use my shoulder. I was going to grab the Jewel in the Lotus. I was going to grab the book and show right now because that
definitely.
My goodness.
Yeah, you know, many props to Master Sunyata Saraswati. You know, not just for the work he's done in with Tantra and Tai Chi and things like that, but for him coming into that realization. You know, when you hear some interviews from him, you hear him talk about how he changed his focus of his practice and his teachings. And, you know, the reason why he did that is because he realized over time that, you know, the energy that was unlocked when he gave people the cobra breath and certain tools and techniques was too powerful for them to handle. Why was it too powerful for them to handle? Because they didn't have a spiritual system. They didn't have a set of principles and protocols to help channel that energy. So what he ended up doing, according to his interview I watched, and I have talked to him personally, I have met him personally, what he ended up doing was basically scaling back who he taught. You know, he stopped teaching singles and went straight to couples. Then he stopped doing the cobra breath so much and, you know, started handing it out very, you know, selectively here and there. And he stopped handing out, because he has like 7 cobra breaths that I think he used to deal with. But he stopped dealing with a lot of those because, again, he felt that people really weren't able to handle that energy. So, you know, many props to him for his growth. And that's, you know, all teachers of any discipline, if they're real teachers, you know, if they're real masters, they're going to continue to grow all the way till they give up this physical body.
My last question for you, brother, and I appreciate you so much. Like I said before, this is an opportunity for my community to connect with amazing authors because I'm an avid student, I'm a lifelong learner, and I read on a weekly basis. So you've been one of my teachers long before we even met and connected, you know what I mean? So I appreciate all the volumes of work that you put out. My last question to you is, if there was one thing, one lesson that you could share or tell 16-year-old Rakhem Seku, what would that lesson be? What would you want to tell your 16-year-old self today, based off your
16-year-old self?
Yes, sir.
That's a great question.
I appreciate it.
The one thing that I think is most important, you know, for me, and I think anybody at that age, is to tell the people to absolutely 100% follow your passion, right? Because that's where your life lessons are going to be learned most expediently, okay? So people try to avoid their passion. They try to avoid things that they're really into to do what they think they should do or what other people are telling them, but, you know, they end up delaying their spiritual growth. So I would say that to my 16-year-old self, follow your passion. And the other thing I would say is the most important thing you should focus on, no matter what you end up doing, career-wise or relationship-wise, is always uncovering who you are. The ancient Kemetic people said, know thyself. That's the key. You know, the oldest printed book in existence today is called the Pert M. Haru, which is the book of coming forth by day. What does that mean? That means it's the book of how to wake the fuck up out of the sleep, out of the slumber. That's what the movie The Matrix was trying to communicate. The movie The Matrix, you know, takes that lesson from the Pert M. Haru and says, you know, you need to wake up. You are essentially asleep. And if you don't go through the struggle of waking up, of discovering yourself, of discovering your power, then your life on earth will not be as fulfilling as it could have been. So you don't want to waste this incarnation. So I would say those two things to my 16-year-old self.
That is truly, truly beautiful, brother. You are a credible messenger, and you have a powerful message to share, brother. How do the people get in contact with you? How do they subscribe? What is your call to action? How do they get in contact with you, brother?
Yeah, they can find our work at jujumama.com. That's JUJUMAMA.com. When you get to the site, you can click blog. We have 100+ blog posts on different varying subjects. And to contact us directly, you can contact us at mail, M-A-I-L, at jujumama.com. And look at our store. We have a store. When you hit shop or store on our main website, you can find our products and services there as well. So we're pretty easy to find. Type in Juju Mama, and our information comes up pretty quick.
That's brilliant, brother. Thank you so much for your time. Will you come back and visit us, brother?
Hey, without a doubt, brother. Looking forward to Toronto.
Yo, I'm excited. Saturday, March 26th, Tantra in Toronto. And to all our viewers, whatever you desire, you truly deserve. Thank you so much, my brother.
Peace and blessings.